Switching costs. This is also known as switching barrier. This term is used in strategic management. We usually use it in marketing as well as macroeconomics. Switching costs could be defined to mean expenses which a customer or a consumer faces when changing from a product or changing from one supplier, from brand or service or a network provider to another. A switching cost could be monetary or non-monetary costs or expenses which a customer or a consumer must face when changing from one network to another. A good example of a switching cost is that of changing from MTN to Airtel. If you are changing from one network to another, you must incur what is called a switching cost. Or you are changing from DSTV to GoTV, you are incurring what is called a switching cost. Or you want to close one particular account and open another account in another bank, you are going to face with a switching cost. One thing switching cost does is that it will make a customer to be loyal to a particular company or a particular network provider. By the time a customer consider the switching cost, the expenses, the inconveniences he or she is going to face when changing from one network to another, he will just come to a conclusion, it is better I just stay with this my network provider. That's what switching cost does. And again, a company with higher switching costs have what is called pricing power. Such a company like MTN can easily increase the price of their products without the fear of defection of the customer, because they understand that it will be difficult for a customer to switch from one network to another because of certain expenses that a customer is going to face. Now, let's just consider some of the examples of the switching costs. Now, we have what is called the financial switching costs. Under the financial switching costs, those are the money that you are going to spend when you want to change from one network to another. If you are exiting or you want to cancel one particular network, or maybe you have opened one account before, but this time around you said close this account. I don't want to open account with you again. I don't want to operate this account. I want to operate account with another bank. There is no way you are not going to fail with cancellation fee. What about the money that you are going to use in updating your account in another bank that you are going to open your account with? That is one of the expenses that you are going to face when you are switching from one bank to another. What about the installation fee? There is a need for you, if you are switching from one network to another, there may be a need for you to download and install one or two software on your phone. What about the loss of discount or benefit? Probably you'll be using MTN before and you have been enjoying some discount on the data you have been buying. But as you are switching from MTN to Airtel, you have also lost the discount and the benefit you have been deriving from them. What about price differences? You even discover that by the time you later even switch from MTN to Glo or to Airtel, the difference may not even make sense. At the end, you will not be blaming yourself. Why do I even change? Because there is no even difference from the two networks. Equipment costs. If somebody that does not want to use their TV again, you want to use the decoder, you are going to involve yourself in what is called equipment costs. You have to buy. You buy another one. That's in terms of the financial switching costs. So these are the costs that you are going to face when you are switching from one network to another. And that is the reason why people now find it difficult to switch from one network to another. Here we have another one we call the procedural switching costs. Here we talk about the time, the efforts, and how you are going to migrate from one particular network to another. It will take you a time for you to study the package of another company you are migrating onto. The company that you want to switch into, you have to put in a lot of effort and the time to learn it. When looking at all those ones, you may even come to conclusion there will be no need for me to switch. Now, we have a relational switching costs. This has to do with your emotion, your trauma, the psychology that you are going to face when you are switching from one network to another. Loss of brand loyalty, loss of personal relationship, even the fear of unknown, because the network provider that you are moving on to now, you don't even know if their network is even better than the one you are switching on to, but you are just considering that maybe it may be cheaper. What if at the end of the day it's not even cheaper? The fear of unknown. So these are the reasons why some people may decide not to even switch from one network to another, because they have considered what is called the financial switching cost, they have considered a regional switching cost, they have equally considered what is called a procedural switching cost. So there is no need. Like I said, switching costs make it difficult even for the competitors to take away the customer of the incumbent company, because the customer is already paid loyalty, homage to the company or to the network in which they've been using. Imagine somebody that has been using one particular network for the past 10 to 15 years, but you are not telling the person now that because of the way the MTN is behaving, let me change to another network. It's not as easy as that. Now, I think early this year, the federal government of Nigeria approved a 50% tariff hike. 50% tariff hike for MTN. I mean, telecommunication company, including MTN, Glo, and Airtel. They approved 50% tariff hike. By 50% tariff hike, what it means is that the company will increase the price of the service or the product. Now, if you look at what is happening now, check MTN. The data of 500 naira is now 1,000. The SMS alert of 4 naira, I think it's now 6 naira. The SMS alert is now 6 naira. Even the call card. Now the question is this: why is it that you are still using your MTN line till today? Why don't you switch to Airtel? Why don't you switch to Glo? The data has gone up. The cost of browsing has gone up. But yet, you are still using it. Although when the 50% tariff was approved, people were complaining. I'm not going to use MTN again. Oh yeah, move to Glo, move to Airtel. You still discover that you are being faced with a switching cost. So what makes it difficult for people to now switch from MTN to Airtel is because of what is called switching costs. Because of switching costs, people have considered all this, so they cannot migrate. It's difficult for you to switch from one network to another because of the switching costs. So even though the tariff has been approved, 50% tariff hike has been approved, yet people still retain their SIM. They retain their network provider because they knew that where they are even going is not better than where they are. So a company with higher switching costs tend to retain the customers, and at the same time, they tend to influence the price of their products without fear of customer defection, because they are aware of what we call a switching cost. So why have you not changed from one network to another since 50% tariff was approved? Is because of what is called a switching cost. Now let me quickly link up what we call switching cost to the Nigeria stock market, because I love investments. Now, before this 50% tariff hike was approved early this year, MTN share in the Nigeria Exchange Group, which is Nigeria Stock Exchange, is around 210, 220, 230. The share price was trading at these prices before the 50% tariff was approved. So we are aware of this information. So one thing about the stock market is we buy the rumor and we sell the news. It was a rumor, but we knew it would turn to news. So we subscribe to the shares of the MTN at the bottom of the market. When we say bottom of the market, we mean that at a very lower price. We bought it at a key region, at what we call oversold region. Presently, MTN shares, I think today it closes at about it closed at 285 naira. Something as at March, it was within this range. February, March, it was within this range. But today it's about 285. We knew that the price of the share of the MTN is going to rise. And what will make it to rise? What is going to drive the share price is the 50% tariff hike. This is a positive market sentiment on the part of the investor. So investors have to take position of the shares immediately because they are aware of the news or the information. The news, they got it in the news. So we work with the rumor, we buy the rumor, we sell the news. So that is how one can equally profit from the Nigeria stock market. In fact, a lot of people have profited from Nigeria stock market through the MTN shares. They profited a lot because they've already bought at a key region. They bought it at the bottom of the market. It was bought at an oversold region by you considering what is called the relative strength index. When the relative strength index is less than 30%, that is an oversold region from the technical analysis. Now see how the share of MTN is presently. No wonder if you check the Q1 result of MTN between January and March this year, the revenue surged. The revenue MTN made for the first quarter 2025 is above 1 trillion just because of 50% tariff hike. And I'm aware that before the end of this year, they are still going to approve the remaining 50% tariff hike because the agreement was 100% tariff hike. But they just implemented only 50% tariff hike. And that is why, you know, if you look at, people have given tariff another name. Some people are in data. People gave data another name. People are calling devourer because you now tend to spend a lot of money in browsing. You spend money to buy a lot of data these days. So one way by which you can actually profit from the Nigeria stock market is to subscribe to the shares of some of these companies so that through the capital appreciation, you can benefit. Through the dividend, you can benefit. Through the bonuses, you can benefit. Until we meet again, do have a wonderful day. Thank you.